Hey y'all, it's Kai, and today I wanted to talk about when I worked in the trucking industry, or rather, their clientele was in the trucking industry. They did like the certifications and things like that you needed to have your truck on the road. Like you couldn't have your truck on the road without these certifications and registrations and all this stuff. So that's what they did. It was the first time I worked for a woman-owned business, which was pretty cool. And it's funny because right before I got this job, I went on an interview with another woman-owned business, and they were both very similar because they wouldn't tell their employees if there was somebody going on an interview. There was like all these like random similarities between them, so I thought it was really funny. As much as I hate to admit it, this was actually one of the better jobs I had, because even though everyone there was a backstabber, they were all like really fun to talk to, so it was like a weird trade-off. But there were two red flags about this job. The first red flag is that they talked about politics on the interview, and then the second red flag was that she got nasty with me on my first day over like a misunderstanding. So it was like, So the owner of the company was a micromanager from the deepest pits of hell. Like, if you type in micromanager, you will find a picture of her online, and it'll be her. There was a time where she got mad at me for doing something she told me to do 3 minutes earlier. She's like, "Why'd you do that?" I'm like, "Because you just told me to." Like, she'd get mad at you for writing a post-it note wrong. We weren't allowed to order supplies until we were, like, literally out. And it's like, what are we supposed to do if we don't have toilet paper? And her buying decisions were really weird because she wouldn't let us order a pencil holder for the new girl. Her decisions were really weird because she wouldn't let us order a pencil holder for the new girl, but she would go ahead and buy 30 magic erasers that no one used for the 2 years I was there. And something they would do is that they would give out thank you cards to the customers, and we told her that we were out of thank you cards, and she didn't believe us, so she actually called an employee who left the company like months ago, called them up to see if we were telling the truth, which we were. And it was really weird because she was, buying a yacht, and everyone's asking for raises, and she's like, "Oh, I don't have any money for raises, but she could buy a yacht or fix her house." And everyone's just looking at her like, "Really? You really don't have money to help pay for us?" One thing that annoyed me is that we had to take a 40-minute drive out to a DMV to drop off like paperwork for the trucks. And the thing is that this is the only DMV that like does that kind of paperwork or whatever. And so I was the one, because I was on the bottom of the totem pole, I was the one who usually had to do it, and we had to use our own cars. So it was putting miles on my car. She did like pay gas money, but it's like I had to fix my car a lot more often working there, and she's not going to fix the car repairs, She always had to like undo everything I did. Like there was a website that I would work on her website, and then she would tell me what to do, and then I would do it, and then she would get mad at me for what she wrote. But it's like, you're the one who wrote it, why are you getting mad at me? It's like she always had to undo everything I did, and it's like, why am I even here? There were also important scams that customers needed to know about, but she always had to approve everything, so things would take forever to like get it approved from her. That, by the time we get the approval, the scam's like over, and people are already being scammed because she never let us get the approval. And one thing about her is that she loves Halloween, which is like, fair. Who doesn't love Halloween? But she always made everyone in the office dress like witches. Like, you weren't allowed to choose what you wanted to be, which is kind of weird. And then one of the guys in the office, he actually got upset. He was like, "I don't want to be a witch, I want to be a warlock." What's wrong with being a witch? I had nicknamed her Dragon Lady because she was always hovering over everyone like a dragon, spewing out fire. I like to think that she thinks she's better than everyone. Like, she always bragged about having an art degree, but she never explained what the art degree was. And anytime I would do something, she would get mad about it. She's like, "I have an art degree," or whatever. And it's like, but you're not telling me what it is. I have an actual art degree in graphic design, but what's yours? Every year for her birthday, we had to get her something. Usually, we would just pool money in so they would get her flowers. And I'm like, I just started. I don't want to get this lady who's rude to me money. Like, I don't have a lot of money. Why am I giving her money to get her flowers? And the receptionist yelled at me and started screaming at me because I had suggested I could do my own thing. So I was gonna go to like Dollar Tree or whatever and get some random doodads or whatever, and the receptionist yelled at me for it. She later apologized, but she was always like rude to me until one day at like a after work dinner, we sat next to each other, we started talking, and then after that she was nice to me. It's like really weird. Like people will be like mean to me until they get to know me. It's like so strange, but it's like if you're gonna be rude to me, I don't want to be around you. The second year for her birthday, I decided to get her, or was it the first year? I don't remember. But I got her fake flowers for her birthday, and my friend had just like put it in a certain like order, and then when I gave it to her, she's like, I used to be a florist. This is all wrong. I have to fix it. And it's like, I'm being nice and giving you a present, and you're gonna like complain about what's wrong with it? Like, come on. Like, talk about being ungrateful. One of the policies that upset me is that you don't get vacation time until you've been there a year, and the reason is because everyone keeps leaving, and it's like, I wonder why everyone's leaving. Maybe because you're a micromanager. The paid off thing also included holidays, so the first year you didn't get holiday pay, and at the time I was working 3 jobs, so like, that worked for me, I guess, but like, what about people who that's their only job? She was also contradicting, because like, you couldn't be as much as a minute late, but her son could come in at 2 p.m. and nothing was wrong with them. And also, her and her son were like always arguing all the time. There was even one time we had a Zoom meeting, and they were just screaming at each other. And it's like, this is so unprofessional. And it's so funny because one of the reasons why she won't retire is because she knows that one guy will leave if she retires because he will not deal with the son. And the interesting thing is that paid time off can only be used if you're sick, but you have to use it by the end of the year. But I do remember, I wrote this down, but I do remember that I had to take my like vacation at the end or whatever. One time she made me wait until like 2 weeks because she had me finish a project, and she's like, I hope you weren't doing anything that week. And I was like, no, I just wanted some time to myself. But, you know, like, what if I was going to Hawaii or something, you know? Now, I worked at this company during COVID, so there was a time where I worked remote. And remote was so fun. But we had to, like, write down what we did for the day and send it through an email. Which is, you know, whatever, I've done it. This is actually the first time I did it, but then I did that again in another job. But she really wanted us to go into, like, really full detail. So it's like, we're wasting so much time to write an email on what we did, when we could be, you know, using this time to be productive. And it's like, they never asked this when we were in office, so it's like, what's the difference? Like, I just make up something. You'll have to believe me. Like, unless you watched me do something or whatever. One time, I was working on something, and I went on my lunch break, and then when I came back, she was, like, complaining about everything that was wrong with it, but it's like, I wasn't done with it, so it's like, I wasn't done with it, why are you complaining? And she made like a rude comment. What did they teach you in college? What graphic design things did they teach you in college? And it's like, excuse me, you crusty lady with like this so-called art degree that you won't explain what it is? Like, really? But I did like that everyone equally hated her, so that's a plus. And it was funny because like she would be fine with something 1 minute, and then the next minute she wants me to make 80 different changes, and it's like, well, I thought you said it was fine a minute ago, why you got a problem with it now? And like she would get mad at me for doing things that she told me to do. Like, I was on a website to order supplies, which was one of my roles, and then she'd be like, why are you on there? And it's like, because you told me to go on it. It's like she doesn't make any sense, or she didn't make any sense. It's really funny because, like, I'm looking at what I wrote because I write everything down when something happens to me, and I'm like, wow, I forgot about this. And I'm like, this is one of the better jobs I had, and now I'm just like, oh, I'm glad I don't work there anymore. So one of the cool things is that we would give out pens to the customers, and I got to design a set of them, and so we would give them out. But she neglected to tell me what color ink they're supposed to be in for like official documents or whatever. So basically, because they were the wrong color, we basically got a set of pens for free. And so she was like, oh, just give them out or whatever. I still have those pens. I still have 1 million of them. I keep giving them out 5-6 years later, I still cannot get rid of them. But she basically didn't tell me the color size just so she could get a free batch, which is like so wrong. It's stealing from that company that makes the pens, which is actually, it's called pens.com or National Pen. They're really cool. So something really funny, I tried to get my friend Judd a job there one time, and so there was this lady that was trying to get a job there, and so I ignored her email because I wanted my friend to get the job. And then this other girl, they ended up hiring some other girl from like Indeed or whatever, and so she's still there. I talked to her still, and it's so funny because she didn't like Judd because Judd asked about like medical, and she got like really violent and angry at him for some reason. It's like, it's not a big deal. Why are you getting angry? It's just health insurance. If you don't have it, you don't have it. But so then what ended up happening is that the next time she needed to hire somebody, I ended up finding the email of the lady that I ignored because I tried to get Judd a job there. And then she ended up working there, and she's not there anymore. So, I don't know, maybe I was helping her by not, like, avoiding her email or something, but, you know, I tried to help you, I guess. Not work for a cuckoo bird, one might say. And so, like, I like photography, so I'll, like, take multiple pictures of something. So anytime she would take a picture, and we would be like, oh, do you want to take an extra? And she'd be like, I'm a photographer. I don't need to take a second picture. And it's like, really? She was like over proud of herself. One time she told me that I needed artistic vision. And so she revised something, and it was pretty much exactly the way I had it. And it's like, what's this artistic vision you're talking about? Because it looked the same to me. She'd also complain that something was wordy, so she would do it on her own, and then she would type in like a literal novel, and it's like, I thought this was wordy, why are you making it even longer? Like, she was cuckoo. She also had a habit of saying something looked good, and then she would send me 7 emails on what was wrong with it, and I was like, I thought you said it was good. She also didn't understand how fonts work, so like, you know, there'll be different programs have different fonts, and so she would demand to have this one font on this one program, but I would explain they don't have it on this program. But she wouldn't listen to me. She's like, I want this font. But it's like, I can't do that. It's not possible. One time she was blaming me for not sending out marketing emails, and so she had me call the company up and find out what was going on, and then I called the company up and they're like, oh yeah, she received them, she just didn't open them yet. And it's like, what happened? I thought you didn't receive them. You did, you just didn't look, you didn't look at them. You didn't look at them. You know, one of the nice perks is that she had me take a lot of web courses to learn about like graphic design, social media, marketing, and all that stuff. So I learned a lot of cool things. And I even made a bunch of like templates about it too. Also, something about this company is that they use like really big words for like the trucking information, and it's like an average person's not gonna know what this means. And this has happened at other companies too, where they use these big words that no one's ever heard of, and it's like you have to speak to the person like they've never heard this word before, because they probably haven't. And they would always use these big words, and it would just confuse people. It's like, you can't do that. When I had first started, I had designed shirts for the company, which, fun fact, I was actually doing tie-dye with my friend today, and I was actually tie-dyeing the shirt because it had like these weird colors on it or whatever, because it was just old. And so she couldn't find the sizes on their website, so she called them up, and she starts screaming at them because she can't find the sizes, and they're like, it's on the website. And then we look on the website, it's there, but she's a Karen. Also, a fun fact, I wasn't trained. I was trained by the girl who started a week earlier than me. She also had like this thing for like everything had to be in capitals, so it always looked like you were screaming at them. Like the website had to be in capitals, everything had to be in capitals, so it always looked like we were screaming at everyone. She also liked to give me projects like 10 minutes before it was time to leave, and it's like, I got things, I want to go home. Don't give me things at the end of the day when I'm about to leave, that's not fair. And there was some drama. So allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, I was, so before I left, she changed my position from office slash graphic designer to mail clerk, and all I did was like look at like I tracked mail all day. It was like really boring. She'd ask me, "Oh, what did you get done today?" I'm like, "The mail. That's it. I didn't get to do anything." It was so boring, so I ended up leaving. And it was funny because the only reason why I had to do the mail stuff was because the receptionist of 16 years left. Because I heard it was because she was over the owner and her BS. And so, because she left, somebody else had to do it. Instead of hiring a new person, she had me do all that stuff. And it got really boring, so I decided to leave after a month of that part. I was there for 2 years. So, allegedly, my so-called work bestie was talking about me behind my back, saying that I wasn't doing anything. And because of that, she gave me the mail clerk position. And then that's why I left, because I'm like, I don't want to do this. This is boring. This isn't what I, like, signed up for. And, like, looking back, I kind of, even though the people were fun, they were all backstabbers. Almost all of them. And, like, some of them were in your face about it, and some of them weren't. So, like, what annoyed me is that I had made a video, an advertising video, that I was really proud of. And, you know, because this was my first graphic design office job or whatever, so I was finally getting into what I went to school for, which was graphic design. So I was, like, really excited about this to finally get some actual experience, because it's so hard to get a job, but you need experience, but you don't have experience because it's like you need a job to get experience, but you don't have experience because you don't have a job. It's just like it's a catch-22. It doesn't make any sense. So this was my first job, like, breaking into the industry. And one of the guys that worked there, he saw what I was doing, and he's like, "This is what she's spending her money on," and it, like, really hurt my feelings, because it's like, here I am trying to, like, I finally have, like, you know, something I like doing, making art and all that stuff, and here this jerk is complaining about it. It's like, really? Like, come on. And apparently my work bestie would talk smack about me once I went on break, and I think she was just jealous that I got the fun job. Also, when I was leaving, I had made this, like, big trucking banner for them, and, like, the last day I was there, she was taking it down. I think she was just salty that I was leaving. It's like, if you weren't such an awful person, then I wouldn't have been leaving. It was funny because when I left the company, I had 4 different of my coworkers say that they wanted to work with me at the new place. When I was leaving the company, she actually wanted to know where I was going, and I was told ahead of time that she would try to find out where I was going to work so that she could call the company and get me fired from the job that I was leaving her for. So I told her a fake company, and then sure enough, she was on the phone trying to get me fired, but obviously that didn't work. And on one of my last days there, I had noticed that somebody had mentioned that they believe that she buys cars for the employees so that they stay, because then if they leave, they have to give the car back. And then on my last day, I noticed half the employee cars all had the same, like, it was like the same license plate number, or like the same dealership numbers or something like that. And I was like, oh wow, she's really just buying everyone cars so they don't leave her. Like, when I tell you, nobody in this office likes this lady, like, nobody. All they do is complain about her. They all talk about how they're gonna quit, or how they want to quit, or how they're stuck here. Which, if they got a car from her, yeah, they're stuck there, unless they figure something out. Now, word on the street, from what I had done heard, is that the reason why she's such a micromanager is because she can't control her sons, who are, like, in their 40s. And then she apparently, according to sources, not me, I didn't say anything, or know about whatever. Apparently the boyfriend she's with is, like, really ratty, so, and she has no control over them, so she comes into the office to control everyone else. Today's shirt of the day, Purple Crow. There's a lot here, so I might make a part 2 or something. Maybe I'll, like, because everything that I wrote down is, like, kind of jumbled. So maybe I'll, like, write it down and then I'll have a part 2 or something. But yeah, she was a cuckoo bird, and it's kind of funny because lately, the last 3 jobs I had after hers, I was kind of like, oh, I kind of missed that place because everyone was at least fun to work with. But now that I'm looking at this, I'm like, I'm glad I don't work there anymore.